This is Transqat, a safe space to stand. Transgender issues, queer people, respectful conversations. I'm host Clare McCarthy. Welcome to Transqat. This episode is being released 4 days after Groundhog Day.
I got you, babe. Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties, 'cause it's cold out there.
It's cold out there every day. What is it?
It was bad news this year, by the way. Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow and confirmed that it will be 1,010 days until the next presidential election. This year, I learned that Connecticut has its own groundhog. Chuckles the 11th from the Lutz Children's Museum confirmed Phil's prediction. Although the ceremony was not without controversy, Chuckles had been spotted earlier in the week in a Manchester Starbucks using AI to generate a climate simulator.
Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
I have been looking forward to today's episode because today I get to introduce you to Christa Steiner. Christa is the reigning Miss Constitution State, and she'll be competing for the title of Miss Connecticut this June. Last summer, I was having coffee with my friend Rebecca from Prism Counseling, and she told me that she had met this amazing woman who would be the perfect guest for the show. I agreed, and then I went home and I promptly did nothing. A few months later, I was working in the Portland Public Library and I saw Christa's picture on the cover of a local newspaper. I read the article, remembered my conversation with Beck, and reached out to Christa. Cut to today. So, Transqat viewers and listeners, meet Christa. Christa, meet the Transqat audience.
Christa, good morning. It is fantastic to see you. We are recording this on December 31st. So I really can't think of a better way to roll in the new year.
Well, Claire, what's going on there?
It's nothing. It's nothing, Christa. It's fine. We'll just do this. It's fine. It's nothing important.
You sure? What's going on there?
It's just I can't help noticing that you're wearing a crown also.
I know. It is kind of part of my job.
But and that's fine. But I thought I had said I was going to wear mine today, and now I feel like somehow your crown is more important than my crown, and I'm feeling less than.
Well, there's no reason to feel less than, Claire, because every queen should straighten all her sisters' crowns.
Oh, I love it. This, by the way, I realized that we're going to be talking about the work that you've put into earning your crown. I also did. I went to Dollar General yesterday, and
oh my gosh.
I had to look in 3 aisles before I found this. So
That's incredible. I think I need one, and I could, swap it out. Honestly, I think it's so fabulous.
Well, if this conversation goes well, I'd be happy to loan this one to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Christa Steiner. My pronouns are she, her. And I am your reigning Miss Constitution State 2026. And I will be going on to compete for the title of Miss Connecticut 2026 in the coming year in June.
In June, in Bristol,
Yeah.
I understand.
It is. It's going to be in Bristol.
So tell me a little bit about that, because I am woefully ignorant of pageant life. What is that structure like? How do you become Miss Constitution State? And then what are the steps of the ladder from there?
Sure. So most people are really familiar with Miss America as a large national televised pageant. And Miss America, all of the states go to Miss America. So you have Miss Connecticut, Miss Rhode Island, Massachusetts. But we have something in the organization called a local title. And what that local title is it gives opportunities for young women not only to compete for the state title, but to become really active members in their community. So as Miss Constitution State, I get to do events throughout the state. I really love being from Hebron and representing the Eastern Connecticut community. And I get to do lots of events, not only community events like tree lightings or parades, but I also get to do a lot of events focused around what we call a community service initiative. And my initiative is titled Out of the Dark: Mental Health Recovery for Youth.
And I understand part of that is speaking at schools with kids about health and the stigma that goes along with that.
One of the things I've been really fortunate to do, and I will continue to do throughout my year of service, is I work with NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I give presentations called Ending the Silence. And it could be grade school, it could be middle school, it could be high school. And you get to speak with a large group of kids and their teachers and their coaches about mental health signs, the stigma, and how they can look out for these things and help to support one another and give them resources as well.
Is the response of the kids surprised in that? I think for some kids, they look at somebody who's so well put together and is in a public spotlight and then might be a little surprised to learn that, no, I struggle too.
The element of surprise is frequently something that I deal with. And that is the entire purpose of why I've come back and why I've returned to pageantry. I competed in pageants a number of years ago when I was in my late teens and my early 20s. And I took several years off to live life and learn who I am as a person. And since my diagnosis and since my entering into the recovery community, I wanted to come into a large platform such as the Miss America organization to show that what you see on the outside with people is often not the truth of what's actually going on. And if Miss Constitution State struggled and can get better, then so can you.
I assume that there's sort of time for Q&As or one-on-one conversations after you've done your presentation. Do you find that your presence helps open up some of that with the kids where they might have been reluctant to talk about, here's what I'm experiencing, but once you start the conversation, they feel more comfortable?
Most definitely. I'm very fortunate to be a teacher, and as an educator and as a young educator, I connect with kids really well. I've had the privilege to learn how to do that. And you, as an educator, I'm sure you know how how that goes. So I find that they are really receptive to somebody who is closer to their age, somebody who maybe looks like them or can talk about having those experiences. That representation is really, really important. And when people see themselves represented, especially young people, they feel more courageous to ask those difficult questions because somebody else, they can see themselves in that.
You talked about your diagnosis to whatever degree you're comfortable, Christa. How did that manifest? What did that feel like to you? What was the diagnosis?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder type 1 almost 3 years ago. And it was quite a journey to be diagnosed. In actuality, as I reflect upon my life experiences, I had been experiencing symptoms from the time I was 14. And I was not diagnosed until the age of 24. So that's 10 years of experiencing symptoms unmedicated and untreated. There was, when you're experiencing something really difficult and tumultuous, it comes twofold. You are scared and have anxiety and you act irrationally because it's a frightening feeling to feel those ups and downs of bipolar disorder specifically. But you also think, well, I guess everyone feels this way and I'm just dealing with it poorly because I didn't have any language. I didn't have any perspective to explain what I was experiencing. So I thought, well, I need to get it together and I need to figure out how to deal with this.
Isn't that amazing that people, I have experience with not bipolar, but with other issues and that I don't know if it's a universal human instinct to just blame yourself. I'm failing at living up to the expectations rather than maybe there's something else going on here. Maybe I should reach out and get some help.
Hmm. And it goes to say that so much of the pressures, the societal pressures, are just, wake up, clock into work, do your job, do
Yeah.
everything you're supposed to do, and just keep the machine running. And if you stray outside of those expectations, you feel that guilt, you feel that shame, and that's what's keeping people sick, in our world at large. So that's really part of why I wanted to put myself in this position to say I'm going to stand on stage with my sparkly crown in full glam and my pretty dress, and I'm going to tell you that I've struggled. And I want you to know that so that you can look at me and see yourself in my experiences.
It is remarkable to me that the stigma around mental health is still so heavy a burden. I mean, I
Hmm.
think one of the things that really brought this to the fore of my mind was the COVID years.
Hmm.
How suddenly we were all a lot more aware of the fact that, wow, we're really struggling. And
Hmm.
maybe and for me anyway, it was an opportunity to say, you know what, stop doing that approach of I'm just going to muscle through my day and mitigate it how I need to. And I'm going to actually acknowledge that maybe I need to change my behaviors, get some help. There were some good outcomes of COVID.
Most definitely. I actually graduated college over Zoom in COVID, which is
Oh,
just as disappointing as you think it is.
did you have to pretend you were reaching out for your diploma?
Oh gosh, no, they didn't even go that far. They just had like the commencement speakers there. And then they were like, congrats, class of 2020. And I closed my laptop and I was in quarantine. I was living in New York because I went to Manhattan School of Music. And I was just like, well, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah. All that work you put in, there needs to be some degree of ritual, of ceremony to
Yes.
mark that. And yeah, closing the laptop just doesn't do it. So you are a music teacher in Essex,
Yes, that's correct. I teach voice and I teach music theory at the Community Music School in Essex, Connecticut.
and a friend of mine has just sung your praises to me because of the work you've done with her trans son in terms
Mm.
of gendered voice therapy and singing. Is that something you've done a lot of?
This is actually a really new experience for me. My perspective when it comes to life and singing as a whole is I always want everyone to experience the joy of singing and the joy of music, specifically in regards to mental health. When there were really difficult times when I didn't know how to process my emotions, I didn't know how to voice what I was feeling or explain it in words, I would actually sing about it. And I would just try to sing songs that felt congruent to my emotional experiences. And so that was a way of me trying to work through my emotions. And I found that music was a really healthy coping skill for me to work through some of those really difficult, overwhelming things. And when I started out my year of service, one of the things I wanted to do was really bridge those two interests of music and mental health. And so working with Prism, working with that, they are an LGBTQ mental health organization, I felt there was a really cool opportunity to show up for, my community, for the trans community. It's just been like the biggest privilege of my life to show up. Everyone deserves to sing and enjoy music healthily. I try to explain just for every person how your voice works physiologically, how we can change it. Not that a sound is bad or good, but that we can make a sound that is more desirable to what we want to sound like.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the work that I do. And I have been fortunate to work with Rebecca Degnan at Prism, and I've been able to donate these lessons and really give back to the community. But the way that I approach my trans singers and the way that I approach my regular singers, Everybody just deserves to sing. And that's what I love to do.
I'm going to alter that just a bit
Sure.
with this story. When my daughter, she would have been not quite 3. And I was picking her up from daycare, and I know she was that young because she was still in the middle of the back seat in her car seat.
Ah.
So, and we're driving home, and I was singing along to whatever was on the radio, and I hear from the back seat, "You have the worst singing voice I've heard in my whole life." And so I try not to sing in front of other people.
No.
Yeah. But I do know that especially for young trans folks, the voice can be a real source of dysphoria. That there's certainly the physical appearance and the gender dysphoria as far as the body goes. But if no matter how well put together you are, if you kind of give yourself away every time you open your mouth, that can really start the dysphoria cycling.
Absolutely. And I find that when I work with folks, on first glance, they come across me and they encounter me, and perhaps, they may feel that I would judge them or I would not affirm them as much. But the trans community specifically, especially at points when I've been struggling in my life, they have really shown up and held space for me and let me be exactly where I was at, but also offered help and support. So it's really, really deeply meaningful for me to be able to give back and pour into the community that's done so much for me. And I want everybody to know that I see you exactly the way you are. And I just want to help you create the healthiest sound that helps you sound the way that you want to.
My research staff, which is actually just my cats, tells me that you have sung with Kristen Chenoweth. Is that
have.
True?
Yes, that's true.
Tell me details.
I'm happy to. So I was a student at the Manhattan School of Music, and we had several incredible opportunities at the conservatory to perform professionally throughout New York City, which is honestly one of the reasons why you go to the school, to get that exposure. And Kristen Chenoweth was putting on a show on Broadway at the time called My Love Letter to Broadway. And it was basically like a big concert, but I mean, she can sell out Broadway houses just by herself, and she did. And so several of us from the school were given the opportunity to go perform, and she had several songs in her concert where choruses could come join her on stage at the theater and sing. And so it was myself and several of my peers from school. We got to go to the theater. It was the Lunt Fontanne Theater in New York, and we got to have a Broadway rehearsal. Mary Mitchell Campbell was the musical director. We got to have a rehearsal with Kristen. We got to take pictures with her. I mean, it was just a surreal experience, and it's really incredible to say that I've been able to do incredible things like that.
You've also, I'm in East Haddam. We're starting this now, and I understand you have some roots in East Haddam as well. You've worked for the Goodspeed.
I sure do. So the Goodspeed was the job that brought me to Connecticut in the first place. I had been a professional performer for the first chunk of my career in my collegiate career, and then for several years from like 20 to 24 years old. And when I entered into the recovery space after being diagnosed, I wanted to get back into theater, but I wanted to kind of dip my feet in. So I found this like side passion in wig design and wig styling, which is just like the most random thing, but it's so fun, and it's something that I've really, really enjoyed doing. So I, was working. I did a show at the Two River Theater in Red Bank, New Jersey, and then I got tapped to do wig styling for Goodspeed's production of Dreamgirls.
Oh, wow.
So I worked on that show, and as soon as I got to Connecticut, like truly, as soon as I was on the Merit and I was like driving over the line where it's like, welcome to Connecticut, Ned Lamont's the governor. And I drive in and I'm like, oh, I was like, I feel at home. Something in me just like something came over me and I was like, I'm here. Like I've made it to the place where I've always meant to be.
The people I've worked with over at the Goodspeed are just fantastic. I have a great experience every time we cross paths. Love
This
them.
episode of Transqat is sponsored by Prism Counseling and Support, LLC. Prism is a counseling practice in Killingworth, Connecticut for the LGBTQ+ community. They offer individual, group, couples, and family therapy services. At Prism, clients of all ages are welcome for in-person and virtual sessions. Most insurance is accepted. What makes Prism unique is that they offer much more than just mental health services. Their mission is to support, advocate, foster community, and educate. So here you'll find skill-building workshops, community events, field trips, and professional development workshops for organizations. You can visit Prism on the web at prismcounselingct.com. That's prismcounselingct.com. Just one L in counseling. Or you can email Devin, Devin, at prismcounselingct.com to make an appointment. And don't miss the second annual Prism Out Loud, a big gay cabaret, March 6th and 7th at Chester Meeting House. Tickets go on sale soon, so keep an eye on the website or follow them, Prism Counseling CT, on Facebook.
Tell me about June in Bristol. What is that going to look like? What does that actually entail? What are the aspects of the competition?
So we will be doing the competition at the Rockwell Theater in Bristol, and it'll be that last week of June, which is, we start with a golf tournament on the 19th, the Miss Connecticut Golf Tournament, which if anybody wants to be on my golfing team, you can reach out to me. We get to all golf together. It's going to be great. I know. But we have lots of like community events like that. We have a little like siblings program where young kids can sign up and become mentees to us as mentors for the week. But in terms of the actual phases of the competition, we will have preliminaries that week. So the 22nd through the 26th, with the final competition on the 27th of June. So we have several phases of competition. We have a private interview with the judges, which consists of 10 minutes of questions based on our CSI and our paperwork information and just general facts, but also, really they could ask you anything in that interview. So you gotta be pretty prepared.
A degree of improv.
Absolutely. So I'm like very thankful that I was an actor for a little bit. I'm like, it's going to be great. And then we have a fitness competition as well, which is, we used to do swimsuit in the Miss America organization. And so now we've transitioned and we do a fitness routine instead.
What does that look like?
Yeah, we've got, like a workout outfit on, and then we do some fitness modeling around the stage, in our outfit and our sneakers. And it's really to show off our physical health and, the work that we put into maintaining our physical health. And I have a lot of experience with that of late because I got diagnosed with a gluten intolerance.
Oh no.
I know. Well, you know what? It's okay. Who doesn't have a gluten intolerance these days?
I don't, but I'm intolerant about a lot of other things. So
Right.
it balances out.
Right. So a lot of the things I want to showcase during my fitness phase of competition are the ways I've had to advocate for myself in doctor's offices, the ways, I had to advocate for myself to have a colonoscopy. I really want to show with my fitness competition that I want to push for young women being tested for all kinds of things. We have a partnership actually with the American Heart Association to have young women go for heart testing. So this is all really important and can be showcased during the fitness competition.
There certainly are stereotypes about pageantry, and you mentioned in the past the swimsuit competition, and I hope this isn't an unfair question, but that there is criticism of pageantry in terms of body image and putting out a sort of an unrealistic idea of what a woman's body is, versus all of the many benefits that pageant life can have for participants. And I just wondered if you wanted to weigh in on that. Where do you approach that issue?
I actually did compete in swimsuit. The Miss America organization changed their rules in, like 2018, 2019 was around that time when they changed. My very first state competition was in what they would call 1.0, which was the original iteration with swimsuit. And even in that iteration, for me and from my perspective, I found that I was working on feeling good and physically feeling like I had functional, like flexibility or functional muscles, or making myself feel strong, making myself feel capable, and also working on feeling healthy, in order to fuel yourself to achieve any kind of physical goal. You do have to really look at your food. You do have to look at how you are fueling your body. And it made me gain a respect for how I take care of myself. And it made me think about the things that I'm doing to eat well, also spiritually and mentally take care of myself in order to fuel overall wellness. And truly, since being diagnosed with bipolar disorder and now subsequently a gluten intolerance, all of these things culminate together into, I really have to have a high respect and a high regard for what I put into my body, how I take care of myself. And I really want to communicate that it is not entirely aesthetic driven, because these are going to be choices and routines and habits that I'm going to have throughout the entirety of my life. And I'm really glad that I have this vehicle to learn how to do that now. And, I've been prepping. I started working on my pageant physicality, you could say, 6 months ago, in preparation for knowing that a year later I would be getting on stage. But truly the majority, that's what spurned me to go to the doctor, to figure out my GI problems, to get a colonoscopy, because I knew, okay, there was something wrong, and it was really this pageant that pushed me to want to go and get that important testing done.
Did pageantry help or hurt with coming to terms with the bipolar? Because I can imagine that if you're at a low point in the cycle, getting up on that stage must be just exponentially harder in being in a spotlight. Or did you find that you would use the pageant to sort of rise to the occasion?
Anytime you are in a public position, in my opinion, you have to have a really powerful why. Why are you doing this? Why is this important to you? And especially this time around, I have really leaned into my why of showing people that even when it's hard, even when you feel like the world is against you and you can't do anything, yes, you can. You really can. A lot of people want to put down folks with mental health conditions, or they want to put down truly anyone that's marginalized. I mean, insert marginalization here, and put upon them assumptions of what they can and can't do. And my entire driving factor for doing this is to break against those expectations for folks with mental health conditions, for queer people, to show that you belong in these spaces. And it truly, if you put your mind to it, you really can do anything. especially at the start of my recovery, I I mean, when you get into the recovery space, when you go to treatment, when you have to get medications, when you get sober, all of these things, life gets very simple, and you're focusing on one day at a time.
Yeah.
And it could get really overwhelming for me, feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I had to sit down and really change my perspective and say, you know what, Krista, not yet. You can do this, but not
Nice.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really given me the permission to break against this societal timeline that says I should be doing XYZ on the universe's time. Like, I'm just doing it in the way that it's supposed to be. And that's really what's given me the ability and the permission to come back into the pageantry space, even though I look and feel very different than the last time I showed up. There is space for me in this organization. And by my taking up space and showing folks, from the communities that I represent, that they can take up even more space even after my time has passed.
Well, since you brought it up,
Yeah.
I was reading a newspaper article, lovely piece in a local paper with you, and you had a quote in there that said, "Pageantry has always been a queer space."
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk with you about that because as somebody who knows nothing about it, it has never struck me as being that. So tell me a little bit about that. How is the pageant world open to folks like us?
Yeah.
Let's say, wait a minute, let's rephrase that.
Yes. Put your crown back on, girl.
How is pageantry supportive of people who wear crowns?
Yes. You know as well as I that even though queer people have not always been visible in spaces, queer people have always been in all the spaces that exist. I've been in pageantry since I was 16 years old. So if I'm there, then of course it is a queer space. But I mean, the amount of, it's not just the women and the people on stage. It's the volunteers. It's the directors. My first two directors for my first two titles were a gay man married couple, and they take such pride in volunteering their time to pour into the contestants to help raise them into incredible women. I would not be the person that I am today without the queer people in this organization that have given their time, given their love, given their Saturdays and their nights to believe in me. So we've seen that acceptance on the local level, behind the scenes. We've seen it throughout at least my time and even before me. And I do really think it's time now to have an incredibly visible example on our state level and on a national level with, openly queer representation, that this is not a new concept for this organization. This is just a visible representation of what has always existed.
I'm sure, as with any aspect of history, there have been queer people present, but usually not in an environment where they are encouraged to come forward. It's always been, whether you're talking about actors or athletes or authors, whatever. It's one thing to be and another to be able to have that career while you're saying, I'm trans, I'm gay, I'm lesbian.
Absolutely. And I will admit that when I was early in my pageant career, I was not out. I did not discuss it for fear of just that, for fear that I would be ostracized, for fear that I wouldn't win. And I mean, secret's out. I didn't win before. So that's why I'm back. But really with this go around, and especially I had to have this large personal reckoning when I got into recovery of who I am and all of the secrets and all of the expectations and all of the internalization of these expectations. That was what kept me sick. Secrets keep you sick. And we know that from sobriety programs. Secrets keep you sick. And so I said, well, if I want to be well, and I want to do the most sober thing I can, I have to be radically honest. I have to be radically honest about my experiences. I have to be radically honest about the way I live my life. And I want to do that in this program and show that we are here and we have always been here. And I don't think there's anything particularly divisive about showing up exactly who you are and speaking about your beliefs on stage. You know, this is an organization, the Miss America organization. I don't know if you know, Claire, but it is the largest scholarship provider for women in the country. Every
wow.
contestant who competes receives money to further their education. And this organization is dedicated to empowering the next generation of female leaders in the country. And so everyone deserves that opportunity.
Well, as you were describing your CSI, the idea that everybody who's involved in these pageants is out there pursuing some sort of service-oriented goal, that can only be a good. Now, as long as we're talking all things queer,
yes,
I want to hear a love story. Is it okay to say your partner's name on the
yes,
show?
yeah, absolutely.
I want to hear about how you met Megan. I want to hear about what the initial attraction was and what keeps it going. I want all the details. Ready? Go.
So I met Megan when I initially moved to Connecticut, and we are both sober. So we were connected through the sober communities, which is so paramount when you have a partner. When I call her my teammate. When you have a teammate on your team, having that shared life experience and that same lifestyle, I think is really, really important. I really got connected to the way that she saw the world. She's so intelligent. She is just very, very learned. You know, throughout the course of our relationship, we can sit down. We're watching The Gilded Age right now. And
wow.
we are like looking up like, who is Mrs. Astor? Who is Mrs. Vanderbilt? Like all these people. And to have somebody who you can do that with, it just like the course of our relationship has really been built on a deep friendship, a deep intellectual understanding of one another, and having shared experiences, having shared recovery experiences. You just understand each other to that really deep, intimate level. And that has honestly been the difference as to why this relationship has been the best relationship and the relationship that has stayed the course throughout my life thus far. And she is an integral part of the Miss Constitution State brand.
I was going to say she is part of this as well.
Oh my gosh, she loves it. She does all the social media. She comes to appearances. She takes my pictures. She edits the posts. She has a little calendar of like what we're posting when. She's so into it because she's an introvert, right? And I'm the extrovert. And so she works so hard behind the scenes to make sure that everything that you see, you know, Miss Constitution State, it's not just me. It's really a team effort.
What I heard in there was that, you know, you've got this core set of similar circumstances. It's experiences that can bring you together, but that there's also a degree of balance. Because when you put two people that are exactly the same together, that's not necessarily a good thing. But that ability to understand when you're dealing with recovery and mental health, but also the ability to, I'm going to go over here and do my side of things and you go do yours and we'll meet for lunch.
Basically, yeah. And have you ever seen Love is Blind?
No.
It is one of those shows on Netflix that is inherently really trashy, but it's really fabulous to just like watch, and you can like sit there on your couch and you can comment on other people's relationships. But the number one thing that they say on that show is they're like, oh my gosh, I found somebody just like me. And we sit there on the couch and we're like, we're so glad that we are different. A lot of times in conversations, having these intellectual conversations, talking about the world at large with one another, we clash, we disagree, we come up against that friction. But that's what makes you smarter. That's what makes you stronger. That's what makes it interesting. And to have somebody, in close proximity with you like that you can sort of challenge one another. I think that's what makes a relationship really strong.
Also, we need to acknowledge, since you brought up the issue of your team, you are a cat mom.
Oh, I am a cat
Come on. I when we spoke earlier this week, I met one of them. Was it Milo?
Yes.
Did I meet
I
Milo?
believe you met Milo. So we have Milo and Malachi at home. We, being a female household, we said, well, we should get some boys. So we have this pair of brothers. They are about the cutest things you've ever seen in your entire life. They are mommy's boys. I mean, they're just always like flop and like they snuggle. They're so cute.
I was going to ask, are they snugglers? Because my snuggler is a girl.
Hold on. I may have a recent picture. I take 20,000 pictures of my cats because I am inherently very, very obsessed with them. Okay, so here's a picture. Let's see if it'll show. But those are my boys.
Oh, lovely. Hi, guys.
Oh,
Look
my
at them
gosh.
snuggled up there.
They are the light of my life. And they also keep me very grounded because no matter if I've had a bad day, no matter if I've had a good day, if I'm out being very glamorous, someone's got to come home and someone's got to clean the litter box.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
They keep me grounded.
No amount of tiaras can help you when you're scooping. Yeah.
No.
We had talked about this earlier in the week, but in the background, I thought maybe you would share this if you were willing with my viewers, my listeners. In the background, we have a very special Barbie.
Yes, I am a Barbie collector and I love Barbie. I grew up loving Barbie because she was really everything I wanted to be. She was beautiful and glamorous, but also very smart. She could have any career. Barbie could really be anything. So I really wanted to strive to do that. So I have two Barbies here that I want to show you. So this is my Bob Mackie holiday Barbie. I'm obsessed with her. So she is just all gold. She's a beautiful Bob Mackie designed holiday angel. She has been with me throughout the entirety of my recovery, actually. So to have her with me and to have her come lots of places with me, I just love her. And Bob Mackie is a designer. I am obsessed with him. I would love to wear a Mackie. Like I love Bob Mackie so much.
We'll see if we can't get this episode out to Mr.
I know somebody call Bob Mackie.
Yeah. check this episode of Transqat out, sir.
Yes. And then here's the other one. So in the course of my being unwell before I did enter into the recovery space, I had lost a lot of things, as one is wont to do. And one of the things that I had lost was this very special holiday Barbie that I had gotten when I was 9 years old. I loved her, just things over the course of life and over the course of events, you lose them. And that was really unfortunate. So a couple of years ago for Christmas, my mom found this for me and it is my 2007 holiday Barbie. And there she is. She's beautiful. She kind of looks like, Judy from White Christmas a little bit. So I absolutely love her. And it's just one of those things, about life that, things come back around. It's a really physical example of, it may not feel okay now, but it's going to be okay. Yeah. Things are going to work out. And if you just have faith, you just keep doing it, taking life one day at a time, it is going to get better.
It's not Barbies, but I have any number of things in my home that are sort of anchors for me in difficult times. That just is like, say you take a look at it and realize, oh, okay, there's a good memory to hang on to, or
Yeah.
here's something that'll encourage me to show some strength when I'm feeling really weak.
Yep.
And so I think objects like that in your home can be life-saving.
Absolutely. And to look at when you've gotten this thing, whether it be some sort of collector's item, Barbie, whatever, to look at how far you've come since you
Yes.
got that thing, and to see in that item the physical manifestation of how much you've grown. I think that's really powerful.
That's so cool, because you've got this relationship with an object, and the object is going to remain stationary. The object is always the same. But
Mhm.
as time goes on, you change and you grow. And so that relationship is constantly in motion. It's constantly evolving. I've got one last real question for you.
Okay.
But before we go to that, it's going to require some thought. I saved the really tough one for last.
Of course you did.
Before we get to that, I was thinking maybe, since we are on New Year's Eve, we're talking about this and we're looking forward and we're looking back, some words from this Constitution state about what that feels like getting out of 2025 and into 2026.
2025 has been a really interesting year. It feels like a homecoming. I think, at least for me, it has been a real opportunity of self-discovery, of learning who I am in this new space. And I hope that your listeners have been able to really, come into their own and look at the world around them and see how they move through it. The next year, I was looking on Instagram, apparently it's the year of the horse in the Chinese New Year. So it's going to be a year of momentum. It's going to be a year of going out, of achieving your amazing goals. So I just want to say to the Transqat listeners that, you are only as limitless as your expectations. So let that be what it is. And, if you want to go for the moon, build that rocket, girl,
Again, my research staff tells me that one of the items on your bucket list is to front a cover band that would sort of involve three different areas. We've got disco, we've got what is now known as yacht rock.
Yes.
And hair metal bands.
Absolutely.
So I sat down this morning while I was having my decaf, and I picked out the song that, when you have your cover band, these should be the three representatives of each of those that
oh my gosh,
you would go to. All right. And then, so I'm gonna share those with you, but I also want to know what yours would be.
Sure.
So you're up there on stage, ready? Okay.
Yes.
So here's what I'm thinking. Disco song, it's got to be Donna Summer, "Love to Love You."
Ooh, okay.
All right, which is a tough one to sing.
Yes.
Yeah, unless you're in your car, then you can sing along. Yacht rock, I went with Al Stewart's "Year of the Cat."
I love that song.
Yeah, right?
Year of the Cat. Yes.
Okay, so I think that needs to be there. And then if you're doing hair metal, and you're a Jersey girl, you have to do Bon Jovi, right?
I love Bon Jovi.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So then the question becomes, which Bon Jovi? And I kind of surprised myself that I went with "I'll Be There for You."
Ooh, okay.
Probably not the first one of his that would come to mind. So that said, and feel free to pause if you want to do some research, but your lead songs for hair metal, disco, and yacht rock.
All right, I am ready.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Oh my gosh. So if I was to do a hair metal song, I would do "No One Like You" by the Scorpions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm in it. I'm in it.
Well, see, that's when you think of hair metal, that's the kind of hair metal that it should be. I went with the Jersey hook for you, but no, Scorpions is great.
I love the Scorpions. For disco, it's a really interesting offbeat disco song. It's called The Visitors. It's by ABBA.
Oh, wow.
I love the Visitors album. It was one of the last albums they did. So I would pick The Visitors by ABBA. And then for yacht rock, okay, it would have to be Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross. I love Christopher Cross.
I am so there for opening night for this band, Christa.
Yes.
I want to be front and center.
I actually did over the summer. I got to see a concert, and it was Men at Work, Christopher Cross, and Toto.
Oh my goodness.
It was iconic. It was an iconic concert.
I didn't realize Men at Work were still a going concern.
It's like one guy, and he's like, I come from a land down under.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
There you go. Yep.
But actually, if you ever have the opportunity to see any of those artists live, but especially Toto is fantastic live. They put on a great show.
Christa, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for this. And I'm just going to say that this is hurting my head, so I'm taking this off. I will say that mine says princess on it.
I know. I think mine's
it's not
implied.
a competition. It's not a competition. And I'm not saying that mine is better, but mine says princess.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Claire. Thank you so much for having me today. It's been a pleasure.
If you enjoyed this episode, and really, why wouldn't you? Consider checking out previous conversations with remarkable women. Episode 5 was with Rabbi Marcy Bellows of Congregation Beth Shalom Rodfei Zedek. Episode 81 was with poet Joy Layden, and episode 100 was with author and activist Julia Serrano. Coming up next on Transqat is a panel discussion with Peggy Gillespie, the editor of a book entitled Authentic Selves, Celebrating Trans and Non-Binary People and Their Families. We'll be joined by 3 of the folks spotlighted in the book, Jenny Beeman, Brianna Harris, and Freshlev White.
Early childhood trauma impacted how I showed up in the world. I didn't get all the social cues. So I played boy to my, I played like I'm brother, sister to my younger sister, and sort of pursued what we call non-binary. There was clothing that I had to wear, that I would come home with the skirt muddied up because I also played football. And also what's coming up is just this memory about how I would get chased home after school by like all the girls, like in elementary school. And it took me a long time to realize that I think a lot of them may have had a crush on me.
Hope you can join us then. This has been Transqat, and I'm Claire McCarthy. Thank you for listening. Let's talk soon.
This is Sadie McCarthy. I'm Claire's niece.
And you've just been listening to Transqat. It is made by one of my favorite people in the world, Clare McCarthy.
Transqat is a production of Transqat Enterprises, LLC.
Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
Join us on the web at transqat.com.
That's TRANSQAT.com.
QAT.com.
QAT.com. There you'll find links to Transqat, the blog,
writing projects,
speaking engagements,
and our PayPal donations page.
Please consider supporting our mission with your monkeys.
Monies.
Your monies. Your monies.
Not monkeys.
Please consider supporting our mission with your monies. Any monkeys will be gratefully received as well.
Follow Transqat on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
On TikTok, we are at The Real Transqat.
Want to tell your story on air?
Or ask Claire a question?
What is the deal?
She has all the answers.
Or suggest a guest or topic for an upcoming episode.
Use the contact page at the website
or email her directly at crmtransqat@gmail.com.
crmtransqat@gmail.com.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.